Good evening, everyone. It is now 7 o'clock. I would like to call the Rockdale County Board of Education regular session to order. Please help me welcome the J.H. House Elementary School Eagles and Dr. Kenny Vaughn, principal of J.H. House Elementary School, to introduce our inspirational speaker. Mr. Vaughn?
Good evening, Chairwoman Brown, Vice Chairwoman Duncan, Dr. Oates, Board of Education members, cabinet members, and esteemed guests. Tonight, I have the privilege, as the proud principal of J.H. House Elementary School, to welcome Miss Madison Danowski, and she's going to share a poem with you this evening.
I'm in third grade and attend Program Challenge at JHH Elementary School. Today I am excited and honored to be reciting a poem to you. This poem is titled Teacher. It takes a special person to teach a child in class, to just keep up their attention in a world that moves so fast, to show a child they're unique with many talents deep inside, to help build their confidence so they can beam with pride. To show a little patience for a child who's lost their way, to a child who feels abandoned, who's seen better days, to inspire and to motivate so a child can learn and grow, to go into this big wide world that has its highs and lows. A teacher is a special person who always gives their best, and for every child who's had your class, their life is truly blessed.
Oh,
Thank you, Madison.
thank you, Madison. Madison. Hello, Madison. Would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Everyone, please stand. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Madison. You did an excellent job. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Second.
Jamie Jones.
A motion has been made by Ms. Sandra Jackson-Lett and seconded by Ms. Jones to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Next, we welcome the Hightower Trailblazers, and yeah, and Mrs. Toy Sampson, the principal of Hightower Trail Elementary School, in presenting our Students Awards. Welcome. Oh, presentation. School presentation.
Well, greetings. I would have done it if you wanted me to.
Yes.
Greetings, Chairwoman Brown, Vice Chairwoman Duncan, Dr. Oates, Board of Education members, cabinet, and esteemed guests. I am Dr. Toy Sampson, the very proud principal of Hightower Trail Elementary School, and I have the privilege of coming before you today to tell you a little bit about what's happening at Hightower. So before I tell you that, I'm just going to tell you a little bit, and then I'm going to show you a brief video. At Hightower Trail, we do understand that there is an importance of a wraparound approach to student success. So using data, observation, and feedback, we believe that we've designed a program at Hightower Trail not only to support our students and our parents, but also to yield the growth and achievement that we desire. So our progress and successes are not the result of one person, but rather the collective effort of our entire school and our most valuable asset, our teachers. Here are just a few things that I'd like to share with you in which will help you to see what truly makes HTE a great place to be. One of the first happenings at Hightower is we have guided reading. As a leader, I've invested into our guided reading program. We understood and identified that we were having some challenges with our literacy. And so we invested in all of our teachers receiving guided reading training. We have a guided reading 1.0 cohort as well as a guided reading 2.0. You might ask, what is that? Well, guided reading 1 is for our novice teachers and those that need support with guided reading, and guided reading 2.0 are for those teachers that have the knowledge base for guided reading, but are ready to really differentiate those lesson plans. Another happening at Hightower Trail are our PLCs. Our PLCs this year, we reinvented our PLCs and we were very intentional about our PLCs. We were rekindling that flame for our Tier 1 instruction, which is so very important. And we are using the backwards design to ensure that we are making the correct and next steps for our students. Our work also includes our RCPS data protocol with teachers sharing their data and planning those next steps. Understanding also that our students need that social emotional learning. And so we understand that acknowledging their beliefs and their feelings are paramount to student growth and achievement. And our students participate in SEL morning meetings as well as SEL lessons by our counselor. And finally, one of our flagship programs at Hightower Trail is Successful Start. So you may say, what is Successful Start? The goal of Successful Start is to close school achievement gaps by intervening early in kindergarten. Over 10 years of data show a positive impact and reduction of the level of risk factors for high percentages of low SES students, ELLs, and low achievers. And what is most important, and what we found at Hightower Trail Elementary School, the end of the year's data shows 80% of all kindergartners reading an average instructional level of EF for Fontes and Pinnell, and which is equivalent to the end of the first quarter of first grade. So what I'd like for you to do is place your eyes on the screen and we can show you and showcase to you what truly makes HTE a great place to be. Hello. Welcome to the trailblazing Hightower Trail Elementary School. I am Dr. Toy Sampson, the very proud principal. Come along with us as we show you just a few things we are doing at Hightower Trail this year.
We thought that he was gonna be what? Big and mean. Big and mean, but. Okay, so right now, what's our but? Not information, he's making it infer. He's able to infer that you're gonna be a big scary guy because of what he heard. I'd like to use that word. Okay, where's your but? But what really happened? When we look at the ending of the story, what really happened?
It was a regular normal guy with a normal skin tone and shoes. And he came from I forgot.
Penn State.
Yeah.
Came from Penn State. Did you guys see that play on words? We have our Penn State, but when the very beginning when we saw him, what did his shirt say? State Penns. Do you guys see how that changed?
Yes.
So jot down, what did you see happening in this mini lesson? What questions do you have? What instructional strategies did you observe? How will you implement what you observed in your execution? And what changes would you have to make to address the needs of your students? So
So now, how do you think you all can
fill someone else's bucket. So if I were to say, how can you fill someone's bucket at the table? What could you do? Go ahead, Simon.
Give nice compliments about it.
Give an example.
Like, say, if I say Savannah, you're the best friend I have. That's a compliment.
And it's a compliment for telling her she's a great friend. Yes.
Successful Start is a literacy program that's geared towards, for kindergarten, that is geared towards achieving the gaps, the reading gaps for students of all backgrounds. It has 3 components. We start with instructional reading, instructional writing, and there's a Read To program. And it's a very good program, I would say, from my experience from last year and this year. I think it's very hands-on. It's pretty much clear cut. I don't have to guess. I actually like working in the program. Students start off in Magenta 1, which is a basic, we're learning one-to-one coordination. We're learning how to track the words that we're reading. Then they go from M1 to M2, which kind of, they have to notice change. They have to learn more words. Then they go into, well, they'll end the year between yellow and blue. And so I've noticed with my students who started off with M1, students who didn't recognize letters, students who didn't recognize sight words, but they were able to track those words. They were able to notice changes, and I saw them improve by the end of the school year. As a teacher, I think Successful Start has definitely provided me with a ground of guide of some sort of how to teach reading to students. I think it was a very good program to, as a new teacher, to help me develop a plan for my students to gear them on the right track and be ready for first grade.
Want to read? Good. What word did we find? Is. We sound is. Can we make the word is?
Yes, I do it right now.
Okay.
Do it right now.
Go ahead and make your word is. Take it out of your letter box. I see that you put the I first. Does I go first and is?
Yes.
Good. Zion, I see that you put the S second. Does the S go second? Does the I go first, Carter? And does the S go second and is?
Yes.
Yeah. So now that we made our word is, I think it's time that we can write the word is. So go ahead and write the word is.
We can do it ourselves, and sometimes we can really ask our teacher. I like because I always tell my teacher that she would always help us and help us if we truly want to be when we're reading, and we get to learn easy stuff, and we're getting so easy with it. But one day I feel like she made me feel like I was gonna be a strong reader. When I learned to read, when I learned how to read, my teacher helped me with the words if I missed one. And I skipped a word. She says that you skipped a word, and I go back and read again. And how I felt is amazing. When I was in kindergarten, I liked to read because at the end of the year, I read a lot. When I was in kindergarten, in my reading groups, I learned to put my finger under the hood. And I learned how to read.
So that's our presentation of some of the things, just some of the great things that we're doing at Hightower Trail. We are very, very proud of our students, and I thank you for this time before you and invite all of you out to visit Hightower Trail, where it is truly a great place to be.
They represented, didn't they? Thank you, Dr. Sampson and your team for coming to share the great things that are going on. And again, I want to thank Madison Demonsky for leading us today with that great inspiration. So next up is Cindy Ball, our Chief of Strategy and Innovation. It is time for us to recognize students. And so Dr. Oates and Madam Vice Chair, would you please join me?
Thank you, Chairwoman Brown. Good evening, Vice Chair Duncan, Superintendent Oates, board members, and our guests. We have a lovely group of students from the Rockdale Magnet School for Science and Technology here with us tonight. There you go. That we are going to recognize for some outstanding academic achievement. And we have a large group, so what we're going to do is kind of divide the group up into teams. So I will hand you certificates by the teams, and then we'll do a photo. So students, when I call your name, if you will come up front and get your certificate and remain up front until we get your team, we have 4 teams, and you guys already know who you are. And so we'll do a photo by team, okay? All right, so tonight we are recognizing students again from the Rockdale Magnet School for Science and Technology. These students were on top teams in the National Science League. Magnet won first place for the National Science League in biology and several other top 3 awards. The National Science League is conducted annually with students taking tests in subject areas at their home schools. The top 10 scores from each school are then used to create these teams. Our students had the highest team score in the entire country in biology. So we're gonna, because we have a large group, like I said, we're gonna do this a little bit differently. And we're actually going to recognize first our science team and National Science League coach, because we would like for her to stay up front and be in the picture with each team. Diana Kennan. Okay, so we are going to start with this first place team in biology. Again, the highest team score in the nation. Catherine Stoltz. Alyssa Cornwell. Now, I will say some of these students were seniors and are not here with us this evening. Duck Lee. Amelia Samuels. Maxwell Zhang. Olivia DiFrancesco. Ryan Wood. Saida Hoyt. Stephen Powell. and Trinity James. You can take pictures. Or you also can get them on our social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can find us on any of those. All the pictures I take tonight will be out there. Hold for the paparazzi. Congratulations. Okay, next we have our second place team in general science. Danielle Wynn. Abimafola Bamadeli. Gabrielle Christie. Isabella Waller. It's stuck. Is it stuck to one before? These certificates do stick together. Yeah, there you go. They're very tricky that way. Cameron Tyler. Tina Burris. Magic Boyd. Nikayla Brewington. Sophia Zakharova. And Zachary Thomas. Okay, I will move. All right, smiles, everyone smiles. 1, 2, 3. One more. Hold it. All right. Congratulations. Oh, no, all ninth graders last year. All right, good job. All right, the next group took second place in chemistry. According to the teacher, most important, chemistry. starting us out on the chemistry team, Amelia Samuels. And I will point out that some of our students are on more than one team, and we had a couple that actually were on all three teams, or 3 out of 4 teams. Maxwell Zhang. Prakash Gupta. Amber Lee. Emmanuel Allen. Haya Patel. Ian Morgan. Jin Lin. Joelle Samuels. Jose Funes. And Logan Sprinkle. Now you have to hold it for me at the end. A handsome group of chemists. Says their proud director. Yes, very much so. Okay, one more. You got to hold it for me. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right, good job. Okay, our final group brought home 3rd place in earth science. Earth science. First, Zachary Thomas. Catherine Stoltz. Maxwell Zhang. Saida Hoyt. Prakash Gupta. Emmanuel Allen. Joelle Samuels. Andrew Land. And James Miller. Hold it. I see you trying to sneak away. All right, congratulations. That concludes our group. So much for reporting.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? I do want you to forgive me. There was an inadvertent oversight, and we have another student that we wish to recognize. And Cindy, I'm going to ask you to come to the podium to formally do so. And I'm going to ask Chairwoman Brown and Vice Chairwoman Duncan to come up, please.
On the third place team in earth science, we missed Curtis Evans was on that team. Congratulations. And we will Photoshop you in the photo. We know how to Photoshop. Yeah, we're going to take your picture. So here's your certificate. Congratulations, Curtis.
Daniel, please just go. You can't see.
It is now 7:39. I'm calling the meeting back to order. Okay, do we have any visitors tonight that would like to address the board? We do, okay. Oh, Miss Dr. Davis. Dr. Davis? And Carolina Robinson, but I want to call Dr. Davis up first, please. Dr. Davis, you know I got to give you my script. Not sure if you remember, but this is the time when we allow the citizens 3 minutes to address the board. And please feel free to submit any documents to the board. We do not normally address your concerns tonight, but we ask the administration to address your concerns and provide you with an appropriate response. If your topic involves a personnel matter, or if you contend that your legal rights have been violated, we have specific grievance procedures for these matters. We respectfully ask that you refrain from making threats, personal attacks, slanderous remarks, or engaging in behavior that disrupts the decorum of the meeting. I would like to welcome you to the board meeting tonight. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Brown. Good evening, Dr. Oates and Vice Chair Duncan. Normally, when I come up here, I have a script and I try to do within 3 minutes. I will get within 3 minutes, but I will not have a script today. So for the last couple of months, I've been listening to stories. TD Jakes was on the Breakfast Club the other morning. The president of Morris Brown was on Roll Scott's show, WABE, A Closer Look. And so these are stories of inspiration. Just heard again this morning that about Morris Brown, that they're now able to accept international students since they've gotten their accreditation back. So as he was talking to Rose Scott, he said people told him, do not take this job. What are you doing? No HBCU has come back from that type of debt. But he said it took imagination. It took him wanting to have a hard reset to get to where he is now. Then TD Jakes, as you probably know, talks about disruptive thinking beyond the norm, thinking in ways that will change things. So I thought, what if our county did that? What if our CPS decided to think beyond clear book bags and metal detectors? What if we decide to say, like Hightower Trail has SEL, like Lorraine, which I love, has the SEL. My child takes it every Wednesday. What if we decide to do that instead of making my 7-year-old walk through these 2 long things that she said, Mommy, I didn't know what they were, but there were 2 big things I had to walk through during the first week of school. What if we decide to be innovative? Would that bring out WSB instead of bringing them out for something else? What if it was they took clear book bags out, they took the metal detectors out and did something different and concentrated on mental health? What if we decided to do that? Can your imaginations even take you there? Are you willing to allow your imaginations to take you there? Are you bold enough to allow your imaginations to take you there? Or will you stay mired in the thought that everyone else has? We want to make our kids safe, so let's criminalize them. Let's put them through metal detectors. Let's not go to the essence of what they feel and why we may need these draconian safety procedures. So what are we willing to do? Now I know for some of you, I'm not going to change your minds. I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm not going to stop talking, but I know I need to come up here because I've been told that I need to come up here and continue to speak. My biggest thing is those parents. Oh yes, I've been talking to parents, and I love how parents know their voices matter now. So I'll continue to do that because we know contracts end, we know national searches start, and we know elections come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Carolina Bethea Robinson, welcome.
Good evening, Dr. Oates, Chair Pam Brown, Vice Chair Heather Duncan, and the entire school board and audience. My name is Carolina Bethea Robinson. And first, before I go into what I want to say, I heard my university was here, I think a week ago, South Carolina State, and they gave out scholarships to Rockdale County Public Schools. I'm so grateful and happy about that. The president of South Carolina State College and I grew up together. And he and my late husband graduated from high school together, and we attended South Carolina State. So I want to put that out, that I'm very grateful for that. And I know Dr. Smith-Dixon is a proud graduate of South Carolina State. Go Bulldogs. Okay, so when I voice concerns and I see that it's been rectified, I like to at this time bring commendations to our cafeteria. Last school year, Dr. Oates had a community and Rockdale County Public Schools forum. And I went and I had several concerns. And one major was our cafeteria food was just awful. And I'm pleased to state that this school year, our kids seem to be enjoying and eating the food. Last year, it was going straight in the trash can. And so Mr. Blaine Allen had a tasting, and I, along with one of our administrative assistants, Dana Franklin, and a group of children from each grade level did a taste test, and they did the yes and no's. And I'm pleased that they brought a lot of the yeses back. And our kids seem to be happy. The staff are much, much more happier. And I also am interested in bringing a la carte back to the staff, because we not necessarily want a full meal, but we may just want some fruit or just something small, a dessert. So I'd like to see the return of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Oates for the superintendent's cabinet updates. Dr. Oates?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. As Cindy takes the podium, of course, as you know, biannually, that is twice a year, we do an update on our strategic plan progress. So if you will give Ms. Ball your full attention for the next few minutes.
Well, good evening again. I'm glad to be here to bring you our strategic plan update. If you recall, the last update we did was just after first semester last year. So this update is going to mostly include second semester from the last school year, maybe a couple things from the summer and now, but primarily it's focusing on second semester last year. And so when we do the update again in January, we'll cover summer and this, the beginning of this school year. So I just wanted to start with, just to recap. Am I clicking, Derek? Turning it on might help. Okay, there we go. Just to recap, this is our poster depicting our strategic plan, our goal areas, performance objectives. It has our vision and our mission, our initiatives. So this is the poster we put in every single classroom last year. We put them in, gave schools additional ones this year for our new teachers, and then also put it on the back of our parent handbook. So we want everybody to understand what our focus is with our strategic plan, and make sure that it's readily available and easy to find. So this is our timeline. We have three phases of our strategic plan. So year 1 and 2 are phase 1, and then we have phase 2 and phase 3, which really doesn't have any of our action plans in it, because that's really where we put our action plans to start. So we've got 39 sitting in phase 1, 10 in phase 2, none in phase 3, because phase 3 is kind of that catch-all. Okay, and you can see periodic review with the action teams will happen second semester this year. So probably end of January, February. And that's really so that we can review our action plans and say, 1, where are we? 2, are they still relevant? Because it's been a couple of years since the plan has been written. What do the resources look like to achieve some of these, and make any necessary adjustments that need to be made? Because again, resources, time, whether, something may be obsolete at that point or may have already been completed and it just needs to be, it's routine, so it needs to come out of the plan. So where do you find our strategic plan? It is on our website. If you go to our website, our homepage, and I circled the About tab up at the top, and you'll see in the drop-down strategic plan, and that takes you to the GSBA site of Assembly, which is where all of the boards, everything for the board is on this Assembly site, but that's where you find our plan. You can see everything from all the action plans, everything that I share with you in the updates is put on this website as well. So everything is very easy to find. and very easy to navigate. You'll notice there is a balanced scorecard on that. Our balanced scorecard last year was our baseline data. So right now you'll see baseline data in there. It won't be till after this year that you'll see that comparison data. So if you're looking around in there and you're not seeing something, just let me know and I'll be glad to help you walk through it. But it is pretty easy. This is GSBA's site. Again, as you recall, GSBA was our external facilitator for strategic planning. And this is just a really easy navigation tool for the plan. All right, so with that, I'll begin. And I just want to start by saying very little of this information is going to be new to you. This is stuff that all of the cabinet members and our directors have reported to you in the monthly reports that you get here at the board meetings. And what this does, though, is it packages it. So it puts it in the context of our strategic plan. So there's going to be very few things that I say that's going to be new to you. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, we already know that. But with that, I'll go through each one and just give you an update. And just so you know, and this is kind of how we've done it the past several years, if it's in a gray font, the light gray font, that means it was on the last update. So anything on a black font, the true black font, is going to be new. And I will tell you that there are some slides that were in the last one that are not in this one because we'd be here all night, or didn't have a lot of movement to share. So, you know, you can go to the Assembly site and see if there's anything in particular that you want to look at. So starting with human resources and talent development, you know, providing incentives to enhance district recruiting. You can see we had a retention bonus for bus drivers in that that fell up under that category. Our next one in human resources, and actually the next couple talked about the recruitment efforts and working with local colleges to increase the awareness of Rockdale County Public Schools. You can see a lot happened over the summer with regard to letting schools know and doing that recruitment. And the next one actually also talks about recruitment, and that is recruiting beyond the local area to state, national, and international audiences. And I know Dr. Back and Michelle Stevens have talked to you a lot about that recruitment effort. The next one, retaining and developing classified employees. There's two slides here, and if there was any movement on one where we had some new evidence, I kept the previous slide in there for you so you can just see. So this one had two slides, a continuance, and I'm not going to go through all of this. You know, Mike Moriello was just here talking to you about professional learning and all of the great things that they've done in professional learning with regard to retaining and developing employees. And I will say, though, the new one here was this summer, the paraprofessional pre-planning training and the training on the Independent Learning Day, but also is scheduled the customer service training in October for all office staff, and that's coming up. So restructuring the professional learning department, again, Mr. Moriello was here talking to you about the coaches, and that's part of they're restructuring that professional learning office and adding those coaches. And moving on to, this is one district-wide employee recognition opportunities. And we talk about resources and being available to accomplish some of this. One of the things that we cannot use taxpayer dollars on is recognition. So this is one that we have to be a little creative in how we do this. Again, it's one of those that, you know, funding is limited because it all has to be on donated funds, right? So one of the things that we did last semester, or spring semester, is we did shout outs for teachers, and we had 185 of them. And then we printed them out on cards and sent them to those teachers because they may not have seen them on social media. So we just thought that was an easy, free way to give recognition to our teachers. So you can see here, there's a phase 2, implement employee engagement opportunities. This has been started very briefly. We have an employee engagement survey out there right now, really gauging interest in engaging in, and this is for activities that are outside of the school day. And, getting our employees together more for whether it's wellness activities or social activities, things like that. But we went ahead and started that. So this is one that if the action teams decide, hey, there's a lot more movement on it right now, then we'll go ahead and move that into a phase 1 and pull that from phase 2 into phase 1. So there is some fluidity in our plan, and it has to be, because it has to be a living, breathing document. We have to be flexible with it, and we have to be able to adjust, based on all those things I talked about: time, resources, et cetera. So provide training for all leaders in the area of inclusive leadership, cultural proficiency, employee recognition, and employee appreciation. Again, Mr. Mariella was just here. He was talking about the culturally responsive schools, silence breakers, and the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. I think you all remember him talking about that as well. So moving on to student learning, achievement, and growth. And this is one that I will tell you as the backbone of our organization. This is, where the rubber meets the road in the classroom. This is our learning, achievement, and growth. And a lot of these you'll see are in that light gray font, because a lot of them start in that fall semester and are carried through the year. So you're not going to see a whole lot in new for second semester last year, because again, a lot of this starts and then continues on through the year. And I will say that, it gets kind of difficult to say we're done with something, because when we implement something in an action plan, it starts and then it's ongoing, usually forever. So, it's really hard to say, well, we're done with that, because it never really finishes. It goes on and on. So again, just showing you some of the slides here. A lot started last year with regard to a lot of these teaching and learning initiatives. Again, talking about the coaching plan and the coaching model. And then implementing the K-12 Comprehensive Advanced Academics Plan for gifted and high achieving students. We had Miss Beth Gillis here not too long ago who talked about that and talked about increasing AP offerings and creating a process to allow students to accelerate by course and by grade, and expanding AVID into the high schools. And then preparing students to be productive and thriving members of our global society. And again, some of this you'll recall Ms. Vernalisa Printup was here talking about the personal finance and economics that began last year. Some of the newer things that were talked about, Dion Jonigan came and talked to you about the profile of a graduate and the Flex Entrepreneurship competition. All of those fall up under that. Develop and implement a comprehensive birth through 12th grade literacy plan. Now, this is one, I left all the slides in here because this is one that truly had a lot of things implemented starting in the last school year. And then added to that was the disciplinary literacy training, dyslexia endorsement. Again, these are things that Mr. Moriello just talked to you about, the guided literacy training and reading endorsement training. Improving instructional practices and strategies in all courses and content areas. Again, nothing new on these 3 slides, but it is truly the backbone of our organization. And I wanted to leave it in here so you could just see the amount of work that started, during the last phase 1 of implementation. And again, all of this is ongoing. So you can just see the dates in there, all the fall stuff that was started last school year that is continuing. So moving on to community, family, and student engagement. Review and revise as necessary all school and district websites. We did a survey. That survey was completed and had some great feedback on our websites and what people were looking for in their ease of finding things. We actually ended up doing a small refresh with our current website. Most notably is the banner on every school's website now has video capability, so you can open right up with that video if they choose to do so. We have established a project timeline for this, which it's a very lengthy project to implement a change. If we implement a change, we will go through an RFP process. And if we implement a change, it's a lot. We have 23 sites that all have to be converted if we change vendors. And it will take almost a year to do all of that. And we are scheduling the product reviews. We did form a focus group to give us some feedback on some other websites to kind of give us some insight as to what our stakeholders would like to see with our website. All right, create a style guide and communication training programs. The style guide is really our branding, and it is how to use our logo, what the colors are, the specific colors are, things like that. But also sitting in that is an email signature, standardized. And that's why it's not quite complete. We're trying to figure out how to best implement that and it be ADA compliant if we're going to put like our logo in it and that kind of thing. So we're finishing that. We did provide communication training for all school leaders last March at the IST. We provided summer training for School Messenger and Remind administrators. School Messenger is our rapid communication system for phone calls and for emails. And then of course, Remind is the text to home. And then we renewed our communication ambassador program, which we ask every school to give us the name of a person who is their cheerleader, their communication ambassador. And the cheerleader is the person who's going to gather the good stories and help us get those good stories out, whether it's on their social media, in their newsletters, to their stakeholders, and then through the district. So we provided training to all of the school level communication ambassadors. Improve community involvement. Most recently, we held a Partners in Education training at the Leadership Summit last spring, and we also renewed our Partners in Education liaisons at every school. So we also provided training for our Partners in Ed liaisons, again, trying to help them develop partner in ed programs at the school level and connect the business community to our schools. We did update and reorganize the rcpspartner.com site. It's a little bit different and it's organized in projects and field trips and PBIS support. I encourage you to go look at that and provide support if you're able to. We have in the past month raised about $1,000 for our classrooms in just a month since that reorganization. So we're excited about that. Positive culture and climate. Again, here's a phase 2 that has started. So when we do our review with our action teams, it may be one that we move into phase 1, enhancing mental health education and services and partnering with additional mental health agency to increase that mental health services access. And then partnering with Viewpoint Health to provide mental health education to high school students during their lunch period. MTSS is another large part. Again, this under Dr. Smith-Dixon is another very important piece of our strategic plan. You can see a lot has been done with MTSS. So I left it in here again, really just as a reminder of all the things that had been started that are ongoing. Safe and orderly schools. Again, there's probably 3 slides in here on things that have been done with safe and orderly schools and installing safety measures. And then the most recent installation of safety measures, you'll see digital cameras being the focus of the most recent updates. Creating a framework to welcome all families and community members is another one that recently Miss Megan Sayago, our Director of Family Engagement, came and talked about all the things that they're doing to make the whole process of entering our schools either easier to navigate, more user-friendly and things like that, so that we can welcome all families. Operational effectiveness and efficiency, and this is where you see a lot happening in operations that ends up being a little more of a checklist kind of thing. just by the nature of what operations is. Improving transportation services. I know Mr. Budensteek recently talked to you about the buses. You can see the last one down there, 6 new buses to be ordered. Again, this information was collected earlier in the summer, but I do want to give a shout out to our transportation department. For the first time in my 17 years here, we had people praising our transportation department on day one on social media. So I really, really want to give them a shout out for improving transportation services because I think that's really a big deal. So kudos. And then ensuring students have equitable access to modern learning environments that meet programmatic needs. Again, looking across the district, making sure that all schools have updated, whether it's, furniture, fixtures, equipment, so that we're equal across the district and that our students have the latest and greatest environments for learning. And improving the curb appeal also goes right along with that. And you can see our summer paint projects. Improving cleanliness, again, operational effectiveness. You can see the ABM one-year contract extension was approved. And then we move into technology, and technology flows really through the whole plan because you see technology in, student achievement, learning, and growth. You see it really throughout the whole plan. But from an operational standpoint, providing that secure digital environment, we know how important cyber safety is. We all have a new district-wide internet filter. Standardizing and modernizing the classroom technology equipment. And this is really important. Our CPS a long time ago took a stance of, we're going to provide the best technology and one-to-one technology way even before the pandemic, demanded that. And so, but with technology, it's nice, but you got to turn it over and you got to keep it up. And so we are committed to doing that, and you'll see that really throughout this plan as well. Continuing refreshing the elementary student and teacher laptops, Promethean interactive panels, and then the video and audio amplification through the Epic alert systems. So that is our strategic plan update in a very quick nutshell. Again, you have access to all of it right there at your fingertips, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Do we have any questions tonight? Okay.
Cindy, I have a question.
Mhm.
I'm just thinking out loud. I was trying to figure this out. Back on the slide where you talk about the employment engagement survey, that survey is for staff.
Yes.
And it is to ask staff what type of activities they would like to engage in.
So what we're what that plan calls for, that action plan calls for opportunities for our staff to do things together outside of the school day. So whether it's bowling as a group or attending Six Flags as a group, because if we go as a group, we get a group discount, right? So doing things like that. So the survey that is out there, and it's actually out there now, and you may have heard this, but from Ms. Fallon, she may have shared this during your retreat, but in the first 30 minutes, I think I had 100 responses to this survey. But it asks, what are some of the things you're interested in doing? The time of day. So if we plan something, at 7 o'clock at night on a Thursday, is that a time you're interested in doing a walking club or a book reading club or something like that? And so we're just gathering that feedback so that we don't plan something and nobody participates.
And so the activities will be planned at the county level?
The activities will be planned, primarily at the county level, and really open to anybody to participate in. Mm-hmm. So the survey is just to gather that feedback. What are you interested in? One of them, one of the questions, and it had some ideas, and then you could put in your own ideas. There's an other where you can write it in, but one of them that actually a lot of people have shown interest in is a weight management program. So something like Weight Watchers at Work, may fit nicely in there. We have the UGA Extension Service that is doing a pilot program with county office employees for preventing and really looking at type 2 diabetes and those who might be susceptible to getting type 2 diabetes. And so, through that program, we'll see how that goes and then maybe extend that to all employees. So it kind of is different. It's all over the place.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Cindy. Mr. Hull?
All righty. Good evening, Madam Chair Brown, Madam Vice Chair Duncan, Dr. Oates, board members. I'll be going over the final financial reports for the month of August. All right. Our revenue for the month of August is 9.5 million. Revenue year to date is 18.5 million, which is 9.3% of our budget. Last August, we received 9 million, 17.4 million year to date, which is 9.6% of our budget. Expenditures 15.8 million for the month of August, 32.9 million year to date, which is 16% of our budget. Last August, we were 14.1 million, 29.3 million year to date, which was 15.9% of our budget. Open encumbrances are $3,233,237. Just a reminder on open encumbrances, those are funds that have been obligated but not paid. So just a quick reminder on that. Our fund balance at the end of August is approximately 21.9 million. Last August, we were at 26.7. Our assets, 21.9 million. All liabilities have cleared, and our fund balance is approximately 21.9. Uh-oh. That's all I have. Thank you.
Madam Chairwoman, I don't have any extended superintendent's updates. I just want to remind our public, of course, our governance team and our executive cabinet are aware of this. Our big ticket item next week, Ms. Fall, is our Teacher of the Year ceremony on Tuesday, the 26th of September. I think I know it's at RCA, and I believe it's 5 to 8? 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. I wanted them to get there in plenty of time. But 6 o'clock, and we're excited because this is the return to our in-person celebration of our teachers as we have navigated that endemic phase as we moved out of the pandemic.
Now, is this open to the public?
I'm sorry. And it's a ticketed event to Chairwoman Brown's question. And again, I just want to acknowledge our finalists for Teacher of the Year. And that is Flat Shoals Elementary School, Dr. Christy Davis Langston, Edwards Middle School, Ms. Jasmine Bethea. I think she was here with her mother. And at RCA, Ms. Rosida Hardaway. And we were able to visit her recently, of course, with the donation of those medical supplies from Piedmont Rockdale. So again, congratulations to all of our districts' Teacher of the Year finalists, and we look forward to celebrating all of our districts' Teachers of the Year on next Tuesday, and then, of course, naming our district's Teacher of the Year who will represent us on the state stage. That's all I have, Madam Chairwoman.
Mr. Hull has uploaded fiscal year 24 SPLOS 5 statements. Please review these important information. The board has reviewed the minutes for all board meetings held in August. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for all board meetings in August?
So moved,
Justin.
Second, Heather.
All right, a motion has been made by Mr. Kenny and second by Ms. Duncan. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. There is no old business and no new business. However, last week, the cabinet provided an extensive overview of all action items, and the board voted to place the action items on a consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the action items under the consent agenda? Thank you. A motion has been made by Sandra Jackson-Litt and second by Ms. Jones. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. There is no board discussion. Do I hear a motion to conclude the meeting?
So moved, Heather.
Motion has been made by Ms. Duncan, second by Ms. Jones. All in favor? Motion carries. Meeting is concluded. It is now 8:14.